and soil, creature, and leaf was like a quiet song only the sleepy could hear. And so, under the tender weight of a cloud's nap, in a clearing hidden away from the world, everything breathed together in peace. There were no alarms, no loud voices, no sudden movements, only rest, soft and complete, like a lullaby made of wind and sky. As the mist thickened slightly and the golden light dimmed to silver, the forest gave itself fully to the dream, held gently in the arms of a sleepy cloud named Nimbus, who had found his perfect place in the world. In the heart of a peaceful, green forest, where sunlight gently filtered through the leaves and the air always smelled like pine and fresh earth, there was a quiet clearing where something magical was about to happen. Above the treetops floated a soft, sleepy cloud named Nimbus, who was not like the other clouds that liked to race across the sky or gather to make storms. Nimbus loved calmness, silence, and the slow, dreamy rhythm of the woods below. He would often drift close to the treetops just to listen to the lullabies sung by the leaves and to watch the gentle lives of forest animals unfold below him. One quiet afternoon, as the sky turned a soft silver gray and the wind slowed into a hushed whisper, Nimbus felt an overwhelming need to rest. He had floated across hills and meadows all morning, watching squirrels leap through trees and tiny birds teach their chicks how to sing, but now all he wanted was a cozy, quiet place to lie down. Below him, the forest clearing looked perfect, mossy ground covered in a blanket of green, surrounded by tall, ancient trees whose arms seemed to hold the sky. The sunlight fell in golden beams through the branches, warming little patches of the earth, and nearby, a slow-moving brook sang a sleepy tune as it curved around rocks and roots. With a soft sigh, Nimbus floated down lower and lower until he gently settled just above the treetops, stretching his fluffy shape wide like a giant blanket made of the softest wool. As he rested, a light mist formed around him, cooling the forest in the most comforting way, and the air became thick with calm. The forest animals felt it instantly. A family of rabbits stopped their hopping and lay quietly under a bush, a deer curled its legs beneath a fern and closed its eyes, and an old owl, who had stayed awake longer than usual, blinked slowly and dozed off on its branch. Even the buzzing insects quieted, and the rustling leaves moved more like swaying dancers than chatterers. It was as if the entire forest had taken a deep breath and decided to sleep together. Nimbus, feeling this shared stillness, exhaled the tiniest, most delicate raindrops, not wet enough to soak anything, just enough to kiss the tops of leaves and make the air sparkle. The drops landed softly like whispers, barely making a sound, and added to the dreamy spell that had covered the woods. Everything moved slower, every sound became softer, and time itself seemed to stretch like a yawn at the end of a long day. Birds tucked their heads under their wings, squirrels paused mid-scurry and rested on thick branches, and even the breeze curled around the trunks like it was finding its own little place to nap. The forest, wrapped beneath Nimbus's soft cloud body, slipped deeper into dreamland, and the creatures inside it began to dream, of floating above the earth, of stars that hummed lullabies, of moonbeams that tickled their noses and made them smile in their sleep. Nimbus, too, dreamed, not of faraway skies, but of the forest itself, and how it always welcomed him like an old friend, offering him rest, warmth, and peace. The harmony between cloud and earth, sky and soil, creature and leaf, was like a quiet song only the sleepy could hear. And so, under the tender weight of a cloud's nap, in a clearing hidden away from the world, everything breathed together in peace. There were no alarms, no loud voices, no sudden movements, only rest, soft and complete, like a lullaby made of wind and sky. As the mist thickened slightly and the golden light dimmed to silver, the forest gave itself fully to the dream, held gently in the arms of a sleepy cloud named Nimbus, who had found his perfect place in the world. Beneath a velvet sky painted with stars that shimmered like tiny lanterns, a sleepy trail wound its way through the heart of a peaceful forest, where every leaf, tree, and stone seemed to hum with the rhythm of night. The moon hung low, casting a gentle glow over the path as if guiding tiny feet through dreams. The air was crisp and cool, with just enough of a breeze to make the trees sway in a slow, graceful dance. The only sounds were the distant rustling of leaves and the soft murmur of a creek flowing nearby. On this very night, a young raccoon named Remy, with his fluffy striped tail and wide, curious eyes, decided to follow the trail deeper than he ever had before. He wasn't looking for anything in particular, only peace, and maybe a place to lie down and dream. As he padded down the path, his little paws leaving tiny imprints in the soft earth, he could feel the magic of the night wrap around him like a blanket. The stars above twinkled brighter with every step, their light shimmering and flickering like 1,000 tiny fireflies. Each step felt more comforting than the last, like the earth itself was holding him close, guiding him further along the sleepy trail. Along the way, he passed a large oak tree whose branches stretched toward the sky, creating a canopy that looked like the roof of a cozy home. Underneath its great boughs, the ground was covered in a thick carpet of moss, and Remy could hear the faintest of rustling sounds as a family of squirrels settled in for the night. The deeper he ventured into the forest, the quieter everything seemed to become, as if the whole world had decided to rest at the same time. The sounds of distant owls and the soft rustling of leaves in the trees were the only things that broke the silence. He continued walking, his small body growing tired with every step, yet the path ahead seemed to promise a peaceful place to rest. After crossing a small wooden bridge over a bubbling stream, Remy reached a meadow where the moonlight bathed the grass in silver, making it shimmer like the surface of a calm lake. Fireflies danced in the air, their tiny lights flashing on and off in a slow, rhythmic pattern, as if they were performing a dance just for him. Remy paused for a moment, watching them, and a soft smile curled at the edges of his mouth. Everything was so peaceful, so still, and Remy felt his heavy eyelids fluttering with sleep. He continued his journey and soon reached a small clearing surrounded by tall, ancient trees. In the center of the clearing, a patch of soft grass lay like a natural pillow, just waiting for him. Without a second thought, Remy curled up into a tight ball, his fluffy tail tucked around his body, and closed his eyes. Above him, the stars twinkled brightly, their light spilling down like golden dust, painting the night sky in beautiful patterns. The wind whispered softly through the trees, and the moon shone down like a soft guardian, watching over him. As Remy drifted off into a peaceful slumber, the forest seemed to hold its breath, the night wrapping itself around him like a blanket. The quiet trail had led him here, to a safe place where he could rest and dream without fear. In his dreams, the stars above seemed to glow even brighter, their light weaving through his dreams like a soft lullaby. The gentle breeze sang a song of peace and calm, and Remy felt himself floating through a world of soft clouds and moonlit lakes. He imagined himself soaring through the night sky, dancing with the stars, while the sleepy trail and the forest below waited patiently for his return. And so, as the night stretched on, the stars watched over him, the moon stood as his silent guardian, and the sleepy trail remained, waiting for the next traveler to walk its path. Under the soft, glowing light of the moon, the forest was a calm and peaceful place, with a gentle breeze that made the leaves sway and rustle, whispering secrets to the trees. In a small clearing near the edge of the woods, a little bear named Benny was feeling very sleepy after a long day of exploring. His small paws were tired, and his eyelids were growing heavier with every passing second. Benny had wandered deep into the forest, away from his cozy den, following the sweet scent of flowers and the soft sounds of birds singing, but now, as the night wrapped its cool arms around him, he found himself longing for a quiet place to rest. The forest, with its tall trees and soft grass, seemed to be the perfect spot. As he padded through the forest, the whispers of the leaves seemed to call to him, urging him to find a place to settle down. Benny's large, brown eyes gazed around, searching for the perfect spot. The soft rustling of the leaves sounded like a lullaby, inviting him to curl up and rest. He finally found a cozy little nook between two tall trees, their thick branches arching over him like a protective roof. The ground was soft with a bed of moss and fallen leaves, making it a perfect resting place. Benny yawned, stretching his little paws in the air, and then slowly lowered his body to the ground. As he settled into the soft moss, the whispering leaves seemed to surround him, their voices growing softer and gentler as he closed his eyes. It was as if the forest itself was singing him to sleep. The wind carried the soothing sound of the leaves as they danced above Benny, their gentle whispers telling stories of faraway places and forgotten times. The moonlight filtered through the trees, casting a soft glow over the bear's fur, making him feel warm and safe. The air smelled fresh, filled with the earthy scent of the forest and the faint hint of flowers that grew nearby. The sound of the leaves rustling above him became like a song, a melody that grew slower and softer, like a lullaby meant just for Benny. The whispers seemed to tell him that everything in the forest was peaceful and calm, and that all was right in the world. Benny's breathing slowed, and his small chest rose and fell gently with each peaceful breath. He felt his body relax, the tiredness of the day melting away with every passing moment. His mind wandered to thoughts of soft clouds and beautiful stars as the whispers of the leaves filled his ears with comfort and warmth. The world around him seemed to fade away, and Benny fell into a deep, peaceful sleep. The forest continued its soft whispers, the leaves gently swaying in the breeze, and the moon stayed high above, watching over Benny as he rested. The night passed quietly, and Benny dreamed of wandering through meadows filled with flowers and playing with other bears, his heart light and happy. As the first light of dawn touched the forest, Benny awoke, stretching his little paws and yawning. The whispers of the leaves had become quieter as the forest began to wake, but Benny still felt the warmth and calm that the night had brought him. He stood up, feeling refreshed and ready for another adventure, and with one last look at the peaceful spot he had slept in, Benny padded back into the forest, following the whispering leaves as they led him onward, knowing that the forest would always be there, with its quiet, soothing lullabies to guide him through many peaceful nights to come. Under the soft, silver glow of the moon, the world seemed to slow down, wrapped in a blanket of peacefulness. The night air was cool, and the stars twinkled above like tiny diamonds scattered across the sky. It was the perfect time for a dreamy stroll, and little deer named Daisy felt the pull of the night's magic. She had always loved the quiet moments when the world seemed to sleep, leaving only the whispers of the wind and the rustle of leaves to keep her company. As she stepped softly into the forest, the ground beneath her hooves was soft and covered with a light layer of moss, making each step feel like walking on a gentle cushion. The trees stood tall around her, their branches swaying slightly in the breeze, creating a calming, rhythmic sound. Daisy wandered along the winding path, her eyes shining bright as she admired the beauty around her. The moonlight bathed everything in a gentle, silver glow, casting long shadows and making the forest look like a magical place full of mystery and wonder. As Daisy walked, she noticed how the stars seemed to sparkle just a little brighter tonight, as though they were winking at her, encouraging her to keep going. She smiled to herself and continued on, her hooves making soft, almost musical sounds on the forest floor. The night was peaceful, and the soft breeze that blew through the trees whispered like a lullaby. Daisy could hear the distant sound of a stream trickling nearby, its soothing melody adding to the calm atmosphere. The gentle night air carried the scent of flowers and fresh earth, filling Daisy's nose with a sweet, comforting fragrance. She felt as though she were part of the forest, moving in time with the rhythm of nature. The trees around her seemed to sway in harmony with her steps, and the leaves rustled in a soft murmur, as though they were sharing secrets with each other. The quiet was so perfect, so complete, that it felt like time itself had stopped, leaving only Daisy and the moonlit path. Daisy wandered further, her thoughts drifting like clouds across the night sky. She imagined herself as a part of the stars, shining down on the world, guiding others just like the moon guided her tonight. Her heart was light, and her spirit felt free, as if the gentle night air had wrapped her in a warm embrace. The peacefulness of the night filled her soul, and for a moment, Daisy felt like she could walk forever, with the moon as her constant companion. As she continued her stroll beneath the moon, Daisy's steps became slower, and she felt a drowsy heaviness begin to settle in. The moonlight seemed to grow even softer, and the whispers of the trees and the cool breeze became quieter, like a lullaby coaxing her to rest. She found a soft patch of grass beneath a tall oak tree, its branches stretching high above her like a protective canopy. Daisy lay down, curling up into a cozy ball, feeling the coolness of the night seep into her fur. The peaceful sounds of the night surrounded her, and the warmth of the moonlight wrapped around her like a blanket. Her eyes fluttered closed, and her body relaxed into the softness of the earth. As she drifted into a peaceful sleep, the moon continued to shine down on her, its gentle light guiding her dreams. The stars above twinkled like tiny lanterns, lighting the way through the dreamscape. Daisy's heart was light, her mind calm, and as she slept beneath the moon, she knew that the forest would always be there, a peaceful, magical place to return to no matter what. The dream world awaited her, and with every soft breath, Daisy drifted deeper into the sweet embrace of slumber, knowing that the moon and the stars would keep her safe through the night. One peaceful evening, as the sun began to set and the sky turned soft pink and orange, Bear felt a gentle, sleepy feeling fill his body. The day had been long, and the forest around him had quieted, with only the whispers of leaves swaying in the breeze. He stretched his paws, yawned, and decided it was the perfect time to go on a little stroll. The air was cool, and the earth beneath his feet was soft, covered with a blanket of moss and fallen leaves. With each step, Bear's tiredness seemed to melt away, replaced by a sense of calm and curiosity. As he wandered deeper into the woods, the trees seemed to get taller, their branches reaching up toward the sky like long, graceful arms. The path he followed was hidden beneath thick ferns and soft, green grass, and soon he came upon a place he had never noticed before. The trees here were different. Their trunks shimmered in the fading light, and their leaves sparkled like tiny stars, casting a magical glow. Bear's eyes widened in wonder as he stood in the middle of this enchanted grove. It felt as though the trees were alive, their whispers filling the air with a soft, soothing melody. The breeze, now carrying the sweet scent of blossoms, seemed to call him forward, as if inviting him deeper into the magical forest. Bear's paws moved slowly, as if in a dream, each step feeling lighter than the last. He walked between the shimmering trees, feeling the coolness of the evening settle around him, but also a strange warmth that seemed to come from the very heart of the forest. It was a warmth that made him feel safe and at home, as though the forest itself was wrapping him in a gentle embrace. As Bear continued his journey, the trees began to glow even brighter, their lights casting soft patterns on the ground. It was like walking through a world of stars, with the moon shining high above and the ground beneath him sparkling with the glow of the enchanted trees. The magic of the place seemed to soothe his sleepy mind, making every step feel peaceful and full of wonder. Bear's eyelids fluttered, and a soft yawn escaped his mouth, but he didn't want to stop walking. The magic around him made him feel like he was in a dream, a beautiful dream that he never wanted to end. He wandered further into the grove, following the glow of the trees, and found a soft patch of grass to rest on. With the stars shining above and the trees glowing all around him, Bear lay down, feeling the peaceful energy of the forest wrap around him like a warm, cozy blanket. His tired paws, once heavy from the day's journey, now felt light, and his breathing slowed as he sank into the softness of the earth. The sounds of the forest, the rustling leaves, the whispering wind, seemed to fade away as Bear's mind drifted into a deep, peaceful sleep. The magic trees stood tall around him, their glowing leaves casting soft light, and Bear dreamed of a world full of gentle winds, sparkling stars, and cozy places where he could rest forever. The forest had whispered to him, inviting him into its heart, and now, as he slept beneath the glowing trees, Bear knew that he was exactly where he belonged, surrounded by magic, peace, and the soft embrace of the dream world. The night passed quietly, with Bear's dreams as gentle as the trees themselves, and when the first light of morning touched the sky, Bear awoke with a contented sigh, ready to begin a new day in the magic-filled forest. One peaceful evening, when the last rays of the setting sun painted the sky with hues of pink and lavender, a soft breeze swept through the forest, carrying with it the sweet scent of pine and wildflowers. The trees stood tall, their branches swaying gently in the wind, casting long shadows across the forest floor. The night was approaching, and as the stars began to twinkle in the sky, a little deer named Luna felt her eyelids grow heavy. She had spent the day exploring the forest, hopping from one sunny spot to another, but now, as the moon began to rise, Luna found a quiet clearing where the soft glow of moonlight bathed the ground in a silvery light. The air was calm, and the sounds of the forest seemed to quiet down, making it the perfect place for a nap. Luna lay down on the soft grass, feeling the coolness of the earth beneath her. Above her, the moon shone brightly, sending beams of light that danced across the leaves and made the entire forest look magical. The quiet beauty of the moment made Luna's heart feel full, and she closed her eyes, letting the peacefulness of the forest fill her thoughts. As she drifted into a gentle sleep, the forest seemed to come alive with dreams. The moonlight wrapped around her like a soft blanket, and the trees whispered stories of far-off lands, magical creatures, and enchanted places. Luna's dreams were full of glowing fireflies, twinkling stars, and soft winds that carried the songs of distant places. She dreamed of flying high above the treetops, soaring through the night sky, feeling the cool breeze on her face. She dreamed of meeting the owls who perched in the tallest trees, their wise eyes glowing like the stars, and of wandering through meadows filled with soft, shimmering flowers that bloomed only under the moon's gentle light. The forest itself seemed to hum a lullaby, its sounds blending together in perfect harmony. A rustling of leaves, the soft murmur of the stream in the distance, and the occasional call of a night bird. These sounds mixed with Luna's dreams, carrying her through a world where the forest was alive with magic and mystery. As she slept, the moon continued its journey across the sky, its beams casting long, silver trails through the trees. Luna's dreams grew even more vivid, and she found herself walking on a path made entirely of moonlight, the soft beams lighting her way as she moved through the dreamlike forest. The trees bent down to whisper secrets to her, their leaves shimmering with every word, while the stars above twinkled in rhythm with her footsteps. It was a world where anything was possible, where the magic of the night filled every corner of the forest, and where the gentle moonlight seemed to guide her through every step of her journey. Eventually, Luna's dreams slowed, and her breaths became deeper as she rested even more peacefully in the heart of the forest. The moonlight continued to shine down, keeping her safe and warm, while the forest whispered its lullabies into the night. The entire world seemed to be wrapped in the magic of the moon and the forest's dreams, and as Luna slept, she felt at peace, knowing that the dreams would always be with her. The night passed in perfect harmony, and when the first rays of dawn peeked through the trees, Luna awoke feeling rested and calm. She stretched her legs, looked up at the sky, and saw the moon beginning to fade as the sun began its rise. With a soft sigh, Luna smiled, knowing that the forest and its dreams would always be there, waiting for her to return whenever she needed a moment of peace and wonder. One quiet afternoon, when the sky was a soft mix of lavender and orange, Sleepy Bear wandered through the forest, his paws brushing against the cool, mossy ground. The day had been filled with warm sunlight, and Sleepy Bear had enjoyed a long nap in his cozy den. Now, as the sun began to dip lower, he felt a gentle drowsiness creeping over him again, urging him to rest. As he walked along a winding path, he noticed something unusual in the sky. At the edge of the forest, where the trees parted, a vibrant rainbow appeared, stretching across the sky in a brilliant arc of colors. The rainbow shone brightly, glowing even in the fading daylight, its colors shimmering like jewels in the air. Sleepy Bear, curious but still feeling sleepy, decided to follow the rainbow's trail, hoping it might lead him to a place where he could nap in peace. He padded along, his soft footsteps making little sound as he ventured deeper into the forest, the rainbow ahead of him guiding his way. As he walked, the forest seemed to change. The trees grew taller and more magical, their trunks covered in soft, glowing moss, and the leaves shimmered with every color of the rainbow. The air was warm, filled with the sweet scent of wildflowers, and the gentle breeze whispered through the branches, as if encouraging Sleepy Bear to keep going. He felt safe and calm in this dreamlike forest, each step bringing him closer to the rainbow's end. After a while, Sleepy Bear came to a clearing where the rainbow seemed to touch the ground, forming a path of colorful light that stretched out in front of him. The trail sparkled with every step he took, like stardust settling softly on the forest floor. Sleepy Bear smiled and decided to follow the rainbow trail to its very end, his sleepy eyes half closed as he marveled at the beauty of the world around him. As he walked along the colorful path, Sleepy Bear noticed something wonderful. Each color of the rainbow had a different feeling, a gentle magic that seemed to fill his heart with peace. The red light made him feel warm and safe, the orange light brought him comfort, and the yellow made him feel calm and happy. As he moved further along the trail, the green, blue, and purple lights wrapped around him like a soft, cozy blanket, lulling him into a deeper sense of relaxation. By the time Sleepy Bear reached the end of the rainbow, he was feeling completely at ease. The rainbow ended in a soft, grassy patch, surrounded by trees with leaves that sparkled like diamonds in the moonlight. It was the perfect place for a nap. Sleepy Bear lay down on the soft grass, his body sinking gently into the earth. He closed his eyes, listening to the gentle rustle of the leaves and the peaceful sounds of the forest around him. The rainbow above him glowed softly, casting a warm light over his fur. As he drifted off to sleep, Sleepy Bear felt as if he was surrounded by the magic of the rainbow, the colors filling his dreams with warmth, peace, and happiness. In his dreams, he wandered through fields of flowers, played with the gentle breeze, and danced under the rainbow's soft glow, feeling the joy of the world around him. As the night passed, Sleepy Bear slept soundly, his dreams as beautiful and colorful as the rainbow trail that had led him to this peaceful place. The forest around him stayed quiet and still, the rainbow's soft light continuing to shine above, watching over the Sleepy Bear as he rested. The next morning, when the first rays of sunlight peeked through the trees, Sleepy Bear slowly woke up, feeling refreshed and happy. He stretched his legs and looked around, seeing the last traces of the rainbow fading into the morning sky. Sleepy Bear smiled, knowing that the rainbow trail would always be there for him, ready to lead him to a peaceful nap whenever he needed it. With a contented sigh, he made his way back through the forest, feeling lighter and happier than ever, knowing that sometimes, the most magical journeys are the ones that lead us right to the peaceful rest we need. One evening, as the sun began to set and the sky turned a soft shade of pink and purple, Bear wandered through the peaceful forest, feeling the cool breeze brushing against his fur. He had spent the day exploring the woods, sniffing the flowers, and enjoying the quiet of the forest. But now, as the stars began to twinkle above, a feeling of drowsiness settled over him, and he knew it was time to rest. However, just as Bear was about to settle down in his cozy den, something magical happened. From deep within the forest, he heard a soft, soothing sound, like a song carried on the wind. The melody was gentle and peaceful, filling the air with a feeling of calm. Bear's ears perked up as he listened, and the more he heard, the more he felt drawn to the source of the song. It was as though the melody was calling to him, guiding him through the forest in search of something wonderful. With a sleepy sigh, Bear decided to follow the sound. He padded softly through the trees, his paws making little noise as he walked deeper into the heart of the forest. The song seemed to grow clearer with each step, wrapping around him like a soft blanket. The moonlight shone through the branches above, casting a silvery glow on the path ahead. The deeper Bear ventured, the more the forest seemed to change. The trees became taller and the air grew cooler, yet the song kept him calm, as if it was meant just for him. He passed by a sparkling stream, where the water whispered its own sweet tune, and reached a small meadow where the grass swayed gently in time with the melody. Finally, Bear came upon a clearing where the song seemed to come from. There, in the center of the clearing, stood a magnificent tree with branches that stretched toward the sky, glowing with a soft, ethereal light. The tree's leaves shimmered as if they were dusted with stardust, and Bear could see tiny fireflies dancing in the air, adding to the magic of the moment. It was then that Bear realized the song was not coming from any creature, it was coming from the tree itself. The leaves rustled gently, and the melody flowed from them like a lullaby, filling the entire forest with a peaceful rhythm. The tree was singing the song of dreams, a melody that only the most peaceful and gentle beings could hear. Bear felt a deep sense of calm wash over him as he listened. The song wrapped around his heart like a warm hug, and the drowsiness that had been growing inside him suddenly grew stronger. He lay down on the soft grass beneath the glowing tree, feeling the warmth of the earth beneath him. The music seemed to slow down as Bear's eyes began to close, the melody blending with the peaceful sounds of the night. The song of dreams filled his heart with happiness, and Bear drifted off to sleep, his mind floating on the gentle waves of the music. In his dreams, Bear wandered through a world made of soft clouds and shimmering stars, following the melody of the song as it led him through beautiful meadows and over sparkling rivers. The song of dreams carried him through this magical world, filling his heart with peace and joy. As Bear slept beneath the tree, the song of dreams continued to play, wrapping him in a blanket of comfort and love. It was a song that only the most peaceful creatures could hear, and it lulled Bear into a deep, restful sleep, filled with sweet dreams of the forest and the stars above. When the first light of dawn peeked over the horizon, Bear awoke, feeling refreshed and happy. The song had faded into the morning light, but Bear knew it would always be there, waiting for him whenever he needed it. With a contented sigh, Bear stretched and slowly made his way back to his den, knowing that the song of dreams would continue to guide him whenever he needed a peaceful moment of rest. As the sun began to set and the sky turned a deep shade of purple, the gentle wind started to whisper through the trees, carrying with it a soft, melodic tune. Little Rabbit, who had been hopping playfully through the meadow all day, paused to listen. The wind's song was calming, like a lullaby meant just for him. He had never heard anything quite like it before. The cool breeze brushed against his fur, and the leaves above rustled in rhythm with the tune, creating a peaceful symphony of nature. Rabbit felt his eyes grow heavy as the soft lullaby wrapped around him like a warm blanket, soothing his busy mind. He decided to follow the melody, letting the wind guide him through the meadow and into the forest beyond. The air smelled sweet and fresh, filled with the scent of wildflowers and damp earth, and the song of the wind grew clearer with each step. As Rabbit ventured deeper into the forest, the wind seemed to play a little louder, flowing through the trees and carrying the lullaby higher into the branches. The leaves swayed gently, and the song echoed softly, like the wind itself was singing a bedtime story. Rabbit felt safe, the wind's melody making him feel as though the whole world was softly rocking him to sleep. His tiny paws followed the winding path through the forest, and with each step, he became more and more relaxed. The song of the wind was the perfect lullaby, its soothing melody weaving a tapestry of calm and peace in his heart. Eventually, Rabbit found himself in a small clearing, bathed in the soft glow of the moonlight. The wind had led him here, where the trees stood tall and quiet, their branches forming a gentle canopy above him. In the center of the clearing, a small patch of soft grass beckoned him, and Rabbit curled up there, his eyes now heavy with sleep. The lullaby of the wind continued to play, and the melody seemed to surround him, as if the world itself was singing him to sleep. Rabbit lay still, listening to the gentle hum of the wind, and slowly, he drifted off into a deep, peaceful slumber. In his dreams, the wind carried him through fields of soft, golden grass, past sparkling streams, and under the stars. It was as though he was floating on a cloud, drifting in the embrace of the wind's lullaby, moving gently from one peaceful place to another. He felt safe and loved, the music of the wind filling his dreams with calm and comfort. The wind's lullaby sang through the night, soft and steady, until the first rays of morning touched the sky. Rabbit awoke with a yawn, his heart still full of the peaceful melody that had rocked him to sleep. The forest around him was quiet now, and the wind had stopped its song, but Rabbit knew that whenever he needed a peaceful moment, the gentle wind would be there, ready to sing him to sleep once again. With a contented sigh, Rabbit stood up, stretched, and hopped back toward his cozy burrow, knowing that the lullaby of the wind would always be there to guide him into a peaceful dream whenever he needed it. Under a sky painted with the soft hues of twilight, Little Fox found himself standing at the edge of a peaceful forest, the path ahead bathed in the gentle light of the rising moon. His fur, a soft shade of russet, glistened in the cool evening air as he took a deep breath, feeling the serenity of the forest around him. It had been a long day of playful adventures, and now, with the night settling in, Little Fox felt the pull of rest. Yet, he knew there was something special about this night. There was a path in the forest that only revealed itself when the moon was high in the sky, and it was known as the Path of Peaceful Pawprints. This path was magical, gentle, and calming. It led those who walked it to a place of deep, peaceful sleep. With a soft smile, Little Fox decided to follow the path, curious to see where it would lead him. As he stepped onto the soft earth, he noticed that the ground beneath his paws seemed to shimmer with a soft glow, like the stars had come down to light his way. The trees whispered around him, their branches swaying in a slow, rhythmic dance. Each step he took was followed by the faint sound of soft paw prints left behind on the path, each one glowing with a gentle light. The air was cool and crisp, filled with the scent of pine and fresh moss, and the further little fox walked, the more peaceful he felt. It was as though the entire forest was wrapped in a blanket of calm, and with each step, he felt the weight of the world fall away from his tiny shoulders. As he wandered deeper, the path seemed to open up, leading him to a small clearing where the moonlight shone brightly, casting long, silvery shadows on the ground. In the center of the clearing was a soft bed of moss, surrounded by tall trees that stood as silent guardians. The soft, glowing paw prints on the path led him right to this spot, and little fox knew that this was where he was meant to rest. He circled around the moss a few times, finding the perfect spot, and then curled up on the soft earth. The path had brought him to a place of perfect peace, a place where he could let go of all his worries and drift into a deep, restful sleep. The gentle breeze rustled the leaves above, creating a lullaby-like melody that sang through the trees, lulling little fox into a state of calm. As he closed his eyes, the soft glow of the paw prints faded into the night, and the only thing left was the quiet of the forest, the whisper of the wind, and the soothing sounds of nature. Little fox drifted into sleep, his dreams filled with peaceful meadows and gentle streams, with soft clouds drifting above him in a sky full of stars. He was safe, wrapped in the warmth of the forest and the magic of the path of peaceful paw prints. The night passed by in a tranquil hush, and when little fox awoke with the first rays of the morning sun, he felt rested and refreshed, ready for a new day of adventure. The path had led him to the most peaceful sleep, and he knew that whenever he needed to find his way back to peace, the path of peaceful paw prints would always be there, waiting to guide him to the place of rest and calm. With a contented sigh, little fox stood up, stretched, and followed the path back through the forest, knowing that peace was never far away, as long as the moonlit path was there to guide him. As the stars twinkled brightly in the quiet sky, Sleepy Bear wandered through the soft, moonlit forest, feeling the gentle breeze tickle his fur. It had been a long day filled with adventures, and now, as the cool night air surrounded him, he felt the familiar tug of sleep calling him. His eyes fluttered, and he yawned deeply, ready to rest. But tonight, Sleepy Bear knew that sleep would come in a different way. He had heard stories of dream clouds, fluffy, glowing clouds that drifted down from the heavens and carried creatures into peaceful slumbers filled with the sweetest dreams. Curious and a little excited, Sleepy Bear decided to search for one of these magical clouds. He wandered deeper into the forest, where the trees stood tall and the moonlight danced through the leaves, casting soft, silver shadows on the ground. The forest was silent, save for the rustling of the leaves in the breeze, and Sleepy Bear felt a sense of calm wash over him. As he walked, the air grew warmer, and the forest around him began to glow with a soft, ethereal light. There, in the distance, he saw something beautiful, a cloud, but not just any cloud. This one was glowing with a gentle, soft light, as if it were made of pure dreams. It floated lazily through the air, drifting closer to Sleepy Bear. His heart filled with joy, and he hurried to meet it. The dream cloud seemed to sense Sleepy Bear's arrival and drifted down toward him, as if inviting him to come closer. Sleepy Bear stretched out his arms and wrapped them around the cloud, pulling it close. It felt soft and warm, like a giant, fluffy pillow. The moment he touched the cloud, a wave of peace and comfort washed over him. The cloud smelled sweet, like honey and lavender, and it was as if all his worries melted away in its embrace. He snuggled into the cloud, resting his head against its softness, and the cloud enveloped him, holding him gently in its warm embrace. As he closed his eyes, the cloud began to float higher into the sky, carrying Sleepy Bear with it. He felt as though he were drifting through a sea of stars, floating peacefully above the world. The dream cloud softly hummed a lullaby, a song so gentle and soothing that Sleepy Bear felt his body relax completely. The soft melody wrapped around him, like a blanket of sound, and soon, his mind began to wander into the land of dreams. In his dreams, Sleepy Bear found himself in a meadow filled with colorful flowers that swayed gently in the breeze. The sun was warm, and the sky was a brilliant shade of blue. He ran through the meadow, feeling the soft grass beneath his paws, and for a moment he felt as if he could run forever. The world around him was peaceful, and the worries of the day were far behind. He smiled, feeling the joy of his dreams. The dream cloud carried him through more dreamscapes, each one more beautiful than the last. He visited enchanted forests where the trees whispered secrets to him, wandered through sparkling rivers that glistened like diamonds, and floated above towering mountains that touched the sky. Everywhere he went, Sleepy Bear felt a deep sense of peace, as though the cloud was showing him the wonders of the world in the most gentle way. Eventually, the dream cloud began to lower, bringing Sleepy Bear back to the quiet forest where he had started his journey. It gently set him down on a soft bed of moss, the moonlight still shining down in a peaceful glow. Sleepy Bear snuggled deeper into the moss, still wrapped in the warmth and comfort of the dream cloud's embrace. With a contented sigh, he closed his eyes, feeling safe and calm, knowing that the dream cloud would always be there when he needed it. And as he drifted into the most peaceful sleep, the dream cloud floated back into the night sky, ready to carry the next sleepy soul into the land of dreams. Under the soft glow of the moon, Bear made his way to the Silver River, a quiet stream that shimmered like liquid silver as it wound its way through the peaceful forest. The gentle rustling of the leaves and the soft babble of the river's flow filled the night with soothing sounds. Bear had spent the day exploring the forest, and now, as the stars began to twinkle above, he felt a sleepy warmth settle in his heart. The Silver River, with its cool, calming presence, was the perfect place for Bear to rest. He padded down to the riverbank, where the soft grass was cool beneath his paws, and the air smelled fresh and crisp. The river's silver waters glistened in the moonlight, reflecting the stars above, and Bear knew this would be the perfect spot for a peaceful nap. He found a comfortable patch of moss by the river's edge and curled up, his thick fur making him feel warm and cozy. As he lay there, the sound of the river's gentle flow whispered in his ears, like a lullaby, carrying his thoughts away to a place of peace. The moonlight danced on the water's surface, casting silvery beams across the forest, and Bear felt his eyelids grow heavier with each passing moment. The gentle breeze whispered through the trees, and the cool air wrapped around him like a soft blanket. Bear took a deep, slow breath and let out a contented sigh as his body relaxed into the earth. The soothing sounds of the river and the rustling leaves lulled him further into a state of calm, and soon, his mind drifted away from the waking world. As Bear slept by the Silver River, he dreamed of magical places, a meadow filled with colorful flowers that swayed in the breeze, a forest where the trees whispered ancient secrets, and a sky full of twinkling stars that seemed to smile down on him. In his dreams, Bear felt light as air, floating peacefully above the river, surrounded by the soft glow of moonlight. He wandered through dreamscapes where the world was always kind, always calm, and always full of beauty. The river in his dreams sparkled like diamonds, and Bear could feel its cool waters tickling his paws as he waded through the dream world. In his dream, he met other creatures of the forest. A wise old owl perched on a branch, a family of deer grazing peacefully by the river, and a family of rabbits hopping through the grass. They all smiled at him, sharing in the peace of the night, and Bear felt a deep sense of belonging and joy. The night passed gently, and as dawn began to break, Bear awoke to the soft glow of the morning sun filtering through the trees. The Silver River was still there, its waters now reflecting the golden light of the rising sun. Bear stretched his limbs and yawned, feeling refreshed and peaceful. The gentle sounds of the river and the rustling leaves greeted him like old friends, and Bear knew that the Silver River would always be a place of rest and comfort. As he rose to his feet, he gave one last glance at the river before setting off into the forest, ready for another day of adventure. The Silver River remained behind, calm and steady, its waters flowing peacefully through the forest, waiting to welcome Bear back whenever he needed a quiet place to rest. As the evening sun dipped behind the hills, casting a golden glow across the forest, little Bear wandered through the trees, feeling the gentle breeze tug at his fur. The forest, a peaceful place of tall, ancient trees, had always been Bear's favorite spot. There was something magical about the way the trees stood tall and still, their branches reaching toward the sky as if they were whispering secrets to the wind. Tonight, however, there was a special feeling in the air. It was as if the trees were alive with stories, waiting to share their ancient tales. Bear settled down on a soft patch of moss beneath a mighty oak tree, his paws curled up comfortably as he gazed at the darkening sky. The moon had begun to rise, casting a silvery light on the forest floor, and the stars began to twinkle above like little sparks of magic. As the night grew quieter, Bear heard a faint rustling sound, like a soft whisper carried on the breeze. He perked up his ears and listened closely. At first, he thought it was just the wind, but then, the sound grew clearer, almost as if the trees themselves were speaking. Long ago, the trees whispered, their leaves rustling with each word. The forest was full of stories, stories of brave creatures and hidden treasures, of dreams that reached the stars and hearts that never gave up. Bear's eyes widened in wonder. He had always known the forest was a magical place, but he had never heard the trees speak before. He leaned closer, eager to hear more. There was once a young fox, continued the trees, their voices soft and soothing, who ventured into the heart of the forest to find a lost star. This star had fallen from the sky and landed deep within the woods, where no creature had dared to go. The fox was small, but brave, and she journeyed through the dark forest, guided only by the glow of the moon and the whispers of the trees. As the trees spoke, Bear could feel himself being drawn into the story. He imagined the little fox, with her bright eyes and bushy tail, making her way through the thick underbrush, her paws light on the forest floor. The air seemed to hum with magic as the trees continued. The fox reached the hidden glade where the star lay, glowing softly on the ground like a pearl. She picked it up gently in her paws and felt its warmth spread through her. She knew that with this star, she could make a wish to bring peace to the forest and to all the creatures that lived within it. But before she could make her wish, the trees spoke to her, their voices filled with wisdom. To make a wish, they said, you must first give something in return. What is it that you would offer to the forest? Bear's heart raced as the tree's story continued. He imagined the little fox, standing in the glade, holding the star in her paws, thinking about what she could give. Finally, the trees said, the fox, understanding the wisdom of the trees, offered her kindness and love for all the creatures of the forest. She promised to always protect them and care for the forest, no matter what. The trees' voices grew softer, their rustling leaves filling the air with a peaceful melody. And so, the trees whispered, the fox made her wish, and the forest became a place of harmony and peace. From that day forward, the creatures lived in balance, and the trees watched over them, sharing their stories with those who listened. As the story came to an end, Bear felt a sense of warmth and comfort fill his heart. The forest had always been a place of peace for him, but now, after hearing the story of the little fox, he understood that the forest held more than just trees and animals. It was filled with magic, wisdom, and stories that had been passed down through generations. Bear closed his eyes, feeling the soft breeze around him, and drifted into a peaceful sleep, knowing that the trees would always be there, whispering their stories to those who took the time to listen. As the twilight sky deepened into shades of purple and blue, the forest slowly began to settle into its nighttime rhythm. The soft rustling of leaves and the distant chirping of crickets were the only sounds breaking the stillness of the night. Little Fox, with his tail wrapped tightly around his paws, sat on a mossy rock, looking up at the sky. The stars above twinkled like tiny diamonds, their soft glow spilling down through the branches of the trees. It was a peaceful evening, one that filled his heart with calm. Yet tonight was different. There was something special about the way the forest glowed. All around him, small glowing lights flickered through the trees like fireflies, weaving through the air, creating a dance of light that felt magical. These were the forest lights, and Fox had heard tales of them. Tiny glowing creatures that only appeared on the most peaceful nights, when the forest was still and quiet, ready to embrace sleep. Fox had never seen them up close before, but tonight, they seemed to be everywhere. He watched in awe as the lights floated around him, casting soft, warm glows on the trees and the forest floor. They blinked on and off as if they were winking at him, inviting him to join in their dance. He smiled to himself, feeling the gentle pull of sleep as the lights moved in the air like soft whispers of dreams. The forest lights had a way of calming even the busiest of minds, and Fox could feel the weight of the day's adventures melting away. As he lay down on the soft bed of moss, he closed his eyes, letting the lights soothe him with their gentle glow. Around him, the forest seemed to quiet even further, the wind holding its breath as the trees swayed gently above. In the distance, a soft, melodic sound echoed, a lullaby carried on the wind. It was as though the entire forest was singing to him, urging him to let go of the day's worries and slip into a deep, peaceful sleep. With each breath he took, Fox felt himself sinking deeper into the warmth of the night, surrounded by the soft glow of the forest lights and the calming lullaby that wrapped around him like a blanket. The glowing lights continued their dance, moving slower now, as if they too were preparing for rest. The trees, too, seemed to lean in closer, their branches swaying in time with the song of the forest. Fox's eyes fluttered shut as the peacefulness of the night embraced him fully. The lights grew dimmer as the night deepened, the stars above blinking softly, and the lullaby of the forest played on. It wasn't long before Fox drifted into a peaceful sleep, surrounded by the beauty and calm of the forest, with the gentle glow of the forest lights watching over him. The forest, now bathed in soft moonlight, continued its quiet rhythm, the creatures of the woods all settling into their own dreams, while the forest lights floated through the trees, casting their soft, sleepy glow on the world below. And so, in the heart of the forest, under the watchful eyes of the stars and the soft flicker of the glowing lights, the world fell into a peaceful, restful sleep, as the night wrapped itself in its quiet embrace. As the night settled softly over the forest, Bear wandered through the tall, whispering trees, the cool breeze brushing against his fur. The stars above twinkled like tiny, comforting lights in the vast, dark sky, casting their gentle glow across the land. The moon, full and bright, hung in the sky like a lantern, illuminating the forest with its soft silver light. Bear had been walking for a while, his paws brushing over the moss-covered ground, his thoughts peaceful and calm. Tonight was special, for the forest was blooming with star flowers, delicate blossoms that only bloomed under the soft gaze of the stars. Their petals, shimmering with tiny sparkles, bloomed in shades of blue and purple, glowing faintly in the moonlight. Bear had heard of these flowers before, but tonight, they seemed to call out to him. He followed their glow deeper into the forest, each step bringing him closer to a hidden grove he had never seen before. As he entered the grove, the sight before him took his breath away. The ground was covered in star flowers, their soft, glowing petals illuminating the space around him, creating a magical, serene glow. Bear's heart filled with warmth and peace as he stepped closer, the flowers swaying gently in the night breeze. It felt as though the entire forest had come together to create this special moment just for him. Feeling a deep sense of calm, Bear lay down on the soft ground, resting among the flowers. The star flowers, like tiny stars, seemed to whisper in the night, their glow wrapping around him like a soft blanket. The gentle rustling of the leaves in the trees and the distant sound of a stream flowing nearby added to the soothing atmosphere. Bear closed his eyes and let out a contented sigh, feeling the warmth of the flowers around him and the cool night air on his fur. It was a perfect moment, a moment where time seemed to stand still. As he lay there, the soft glow of the flowers seemed to grow brighter, and the night itself seemed to hum with peace and quiet. The stars above shone even more brightly, their light blending with the glow of the flowers, creating a dreamlike, magical scene. Bear felt his body relax completely, his mind drifting with the soft sounds of the night. It was as though the stars themselves were tucking him in, whispering a lullaby of rest and dreams. As the forest around him settled into a peaceful slumber, Bear, too, felt his eyelids grow heavy. The warmth of the star flowers, the gentle night breeze, and the quiet hum of the forest's lullaby wrapped around him, lulling him into a deep, peaceful sleep. The flowers glowed softly as Bear drifted off, their light flickering like tiny stars. The forest, under the soft glow of the stars and the calming presence of the flowers, was at peace. And in the heart of it all, Bear rested, his dreams filled with the beauty and wonder of the night, surrounded by the gentle embrace of the star flowers. The night passed peacefully, with Bear nestled in the warmth of the flowers, the stars above watching over him, and the soft whispers of the forest keeping him company until the morning light. In the heart of the enchanted forest, where the trees reached high into the sky and the air was always filled with a sense of calm, there was a place where dreams seemed to weave themselves into the very fabric of the night. This was where the animals came when the world became still, where the stars twinkled brightly and the moon's soft glow made everything look magical. It was a special night, and as the sun slowly dipped behind the hills, the forest came alive with whispers of dreams. The air was cool and crisp, the leaves rustled gently in the breeze, and all around, the creatures of the forest prepared for their night of rest. Little Rabbit, with her soft fur and curious eyes, hopped toward a cozy nook beneath a tall oak tree. The stars above were beginning to twinkle, casting a shimmering light over the forest floor, and she felt her eyelids grow heavy as the peaceful sounds of the forest wrapped around her. Just nearby, Squirrel was finding the perfect branch to settle on, her fluffy tail curled tightly around her. As she nestled into the tree, she looked up at the stars and smiled. The forest, she thought, was a place of dreams, where every leaf, every whispering breeze, and every shimmering star held the promise of something wonderful. Bear, a gentle giant with fur as soft as the moss that grew on the forest floor, lay down near the bubbling stream, the water's soft murmur lulling him into a peaceful state. His eyes were heavy, and the gentle hum of the night, accompanied by the rustling of the trees and the distant calls of the owls, carried him into a world where the boundaries between dreams and reality blurred. As the forest sank deeper into the embrace of night, the dreamkeeper, a wise and ancient owl, perched atop the tallest tree, watching over the creatures below. He was the guardian of the forest dreams, ensuring that every creature's slumber was peaceful and that their dreams were sweet. Tonight, the forest seemed to glow with an extra special magic. The stars, brighter than ever, twinkled like diamonds in the sky, and the air seemed to hum with a quiet melody. The dreamkeeper closed his eyes, letting the warmth of the night wash over him, knowing that the forest was at peace. As Rabbit, Squirrel, and Bear slept soundly, their dreams began to weave together in the magic of the forest. Rabbit dreamed of running through fields of flowers, with the warm sun on her back and the gentle breeze tickling her ears. Squirrel dreamed of leaping from tree to tree, her tail flicking behind her as she danced through the air with grace and joy. And Bear dreamed of walking through the forest, surrounded by towering trees that whispered ancient secrets and glowing flowers that lit the path before him. In this place, dreams were shared and intertwined, like threads of a beautiful tapestry. The dreamkeeper smiled as he watched over them, knowing that the forest's magic would keep them safe. As the night wore on, the stars slowly began to fade, signaling the arrival of dawn. The creatures of the forest stirred in their sleep, their dreams slowly fading as the first rays of sunlight began to peek over the horizon. The dreamkeeper's work was done for the night, and with one final glance at the peaceful forest, he took to the skies, leaving the animals to awaken to a new day. The forest, filled with the magic of dreams, was now at rest, ready to begin again. In the heart of a peaceful forest, where the trees whispered secrets to the wind and the moonlight danced on the leaves, Sleepy Bear wandered slowly, his paws patting softly against the forest floor. It was the time of night when everything seemed still, and the world was gently cradled in a blanket of dreams. Sleepy Bear had spent the day roaming through the forest, enjoying the soft rustle of the leaves and the sweet songs of the birds, but now, as the night settled in, he could feel the weight of the day's adventures starting to make his eyes grow heavy. The forest around him seemed to be alive with a quiet magic, a magic that only appeared when the stars were bright and the moon hung low in the sky. Sleepy Bear yawned, his big paws stretching wide as he felt the warmth of the night air brush across his fur. He knew it was time to rest, but something about the night felt different, something special in the air, and he could sense that the forest was preparing to share its magic with him. As Sleepy Bear made his way deeper into the forest, he noticed that the trees seemed to stand a little taller, their branches swaying in rhythm with the soft breeze. The stars above twinkled brightly, casting a silvery glow over everything. He smiled, knowing that this was no ordinary night. The forest was filled with quiet magic, the kind that whispered to those who were ready to listen. Finding a cozy spot under a tall, ancient tree, Sleepy Bear settled down, curling up on the soft bed of moss beneath him. As he closed his eyes, the forest around him seemed to grow even quieter, the sounds of the world fading into a peaceful hush. The night air was cool, and the sweet scent of pine filled the air, wrapping around him like a gentle lullaby. Just as Sleepy Bear's mind began to drift, a soft glow appeared before him, floating in the air like a tiny firefly. It shimmered and sparkled, a soft light that seemed to be alive with energy. Sleepy Bear watched in wonder as the glow floated closer, and as it did, it began to take shape, becoming something magical, a glowing butterfly, its wings fluttering softly as it hovered in front of him. The butterfly's wings sparkled with stardust, and as it flitted around Sleepy Bear, the air seemed to fill with a sense of peace and comfort. The soft hum of its wings was like a lullaby, a soothing melody that seemed to lull Sleepy Bear into a deeper state of relaxation. He felt the weight of the day melt away, and the magic of the forest wrapped around him like a warm, gentle hug. Sleepy Bear drifted further into a peaceful sleep, his dreams weaving together with the magic of the night. He dreamed of running through the forest, his paws soft against the earth as the trees whispered their ancient stories to him. He imagined the stars above lighting his way, their light filling the forest with an otherworldly glow. And in his dreams, the butterfly fluttered by, its wings leaving a trail of shimmering stardust that sparkled in the night sky. The forest, with all its quiet magic, seemed to watch over him, ensuring that his dreams were safe and filled with warmth. As Sleepy Bear slept soundly, the forest too seemed to rest, its soft sounds blending with the gentle hum of the wind. The magic of the night lingered in the air, a peaceful reminder that the forest was always there, ready to offer its quiet magic to those who needed it most. When the morning light began to creep through the trees, Sleepy Bear stirred in his sleep, but he did not wake. The forest, with its gentle whispers and soft magic, held him close, allowing him to rest just a little longer. And as the day began to unfold, the quiet magic of the night lingered, carrying Sleepy Bear through another peaceful day in the enchanted forest.